Nothing at all God owes us. You can't do God no favor. Nothing you have on your own is acceptable to God. Isn't that something? But when you follow his word that Jesus brought to us, you can have what he said. He made us and has made some of us some very pretty promises. He's made us some great and awesome and amazing promises. Your relationship with anyone is fashioned by how you respond to them. Likewise, your relationship with God is fashioned by how you respond to the promises he has made to you. Because it requires faith to believe him and for you to act in obedience to his word, that he could cause the impossibilities to be eliminated. His promises are what we need in times, especially like this troublesome time in which we live. This is an opportune time for you to prove God's worth, God's promises, God's faithfulness to you. Remember, I've said, and the scripture says, that in our sufferings, we become obedient to God. Psalm 27 and verse 5, King James Version says, "For in the time of trouble, he shall hide me in his pavilion." Sure you know that one. "In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock." How could he do that if you're not where you need to be? He sees you, but you don't need to be there. You need to be here. He sees you. How can he deal with your situations today and tomorrow that you're facing if you're out of place with him? You struggle through it by yourself. And you don't blame God for it either, because God is simply not the fault. His promises are your best options for solving every problem you have. All of his promises covers every problem you have, every challenge you have, every temptation you have, everything else that may try to encumber your life. His promises covers it all. Believing God's promises through the manifestations of fulfillment gives you an experience of realizing his faithfulness in honoring you as you take your walk of faith through the processes that you have to go through for victory. God says already, you are above only and not beneath. You are the head and not the tail. You are more than a conqueror. You're an overcomer. But he wants it to be real in your life more than you want it to be real. And that's his word. Why did God make promises to us in spite of the times we may be experiencing in the first place? Why? His sole purpose is to give us hope, to give us joy, to give us peace, to give us the reward of our faith in him and his ability to help us, and strength for whatever we may face each day. When you leave this place today, you still must depend on God. Don't just abide only in his mercy, but abide in his loving care. As the scripture says, you're a member of his household. He will never leave us alone. Matthew 28 and 20. He says in a part of that verse, "I am with you always, even to the end of the world." How confident that's what he means. And that's what he does and is doing to those who trust him. In these kinds of times in which we live, COVID especially, as we will all identify, his word brings us comfort Matthew 11, 28 through 30, it tells us in the NIV, it says, come to me,